Okay, welcome everyone. We'll just be starting in just a moment. Very excited to have you on this fabulous Wednesday, end of summer. It's a perfect time to I like to call it get back on track season or fresh start season. Starting next week, everything we get back into routine. So I really hope today you'll get some inspiration, some motivation, some ideas that you can implement in your life, in your health. And I hope you enjoy it. So feel free to take notes. And I usually like to recommend just trying to listen, absorb it all in, and then try to think of even just a couple things that you can take with you and really try to implement them to improve your life or your health. Okay, so let's just get started right on the hour. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and we will be about an hour, maybe a little bit less today. So hopefully you can stick with us. So let's get started. What I want to ask you, actually, before we even go into this, I really want to ask you what brought you in today. Like, what made you decide to take a little hour of your time and sit in and listen to this session today? Hopefully, if you know me, you might be just intrigued about, some of the mindset, positive psychology, or the nutrition or health supplements, or you might just have some really personal goals that you want to work towards. Whatever it is, I hope you keep that in mind as you're listening today so that, like I said, you can apply that into your life. So there's three things that I'm going to cover today. There is so much information to share. I try to funnel it in to 1 hour of goodness. There's a lot in this hour. There's a lot of information, so really enjoy it. But there's three kind of main pillars that I'm going to cover today. The first is about mindset, and that's that positive psychology piece. And I kind of didn't understand this for the past 15 years of my life. Although I had changed my health quite dramatically, I didn't really understand why or how. So I'm so grateful and excited now that I really understand this and I've studied it, and I really hope you can take some good tips from this. It's a little deep, so sometimes I have to warn people, if you've come in for some nutrition tips, we're going to get a little deeper in the mindset piece. But if you want to really change your results in your health or even in any area, then I want to kind of cover some key pieces here about the mind and how it works and how it affects what we do. The second pillar, of course, is we're going to get into a little bit lighter and get into some of the nutrition tips. Now, I've studied nutrition for 15 years, so I'm just picking out a few nuggets that are probably some of the most important things that I usually talk to clients about. And the third piece is some health supplements. So I'm going to show just at the end some of the products that I personally use, but the nutritional, I'll go into each nutrient and each product and kind of how it works in the body and how these kind of three pieces fit together to really help you get towards your health goals. Okay, and I'll explain to you a bit about, how those pieces fit together. So before we start, my bold promise is that 30 days can change your life. And it sounds big and it sounds bold, but especially if you've tried many things before and it hasn't worked out, whatever that piece is, I really genuinely believe if you can commit for 30 days and stick to it, then you will really see a dramatic shift in your life. You have to make that decision to stick to it, though, every single day, and you make that decision every morning. And like I said, to follow that daily process. The other thing I want to mention, if you are able to stay with me to the end, I hope you can, but there's going to be a couple things. One is want to explain to you how you can get access to a daily mindset tip, nutrition tip, and at-home workout videos. Even if you don't do the at-home workout videos, if you work out elsewhere or do some other form of activity, you can even just listen in for the mindset and nutrition tip portion of it. But this is really, really amazing. And like I said, if you want to stick to it for 30 days, this would be a really great way to spend that 15 minutes a day and remind yourself of what you're doing and why you're going there. And the other thing is there'll be some opportunity if you want to enter into a draw for a gift bag. I'll explain how to do that at the end as well. Okay, so some housekeeping. I love to request, if you can, I know it's depending on where you're at, if you're working, but if you're able to, try not to multitask so that you can just absorb the information, relax, close the door, tell everyone you're busy. There's a chat box there if you do want to add notes or ask questions. And like I said, grab a pen and paper so you can take some notes. Doesn't that lady just look so lovely and relaxed, changing her life? So I'm going to go through and explain just a bit about me. Not everyone here knows me as well. And basically, I have a business background, and I got a university degree in business, and I actually worked in the corporate world for about 10 years. And what most people would never know, and if you met me today, you would never know, is that I actually have a condition called multiple sclerosis. That's me and my son there. He was only about a few weeks old there, and he just slept most of the way on this walk that we do every year. But multiple sclerosis is typically a degenerative condition. If you're not familiar, affects the myelin sheath, which is a protective coating on the brain, the nerves in the brain, and it just it can affect the signals to the body. So what happened to me about 15 years ago is I just lost functionality of the right side, is essentially paralyzed for a couple of months, the right arm and leg, and of course that could be scary, it could be intimidating, it could be concerning, and the doctors didn't really know why it happened or if I would regain functionality. But the reason you would never know is because, starting with the mind, I decided what was possible for me. I decided at that point that I was going to, whatever happened, I was just going to do whatever I could do to live my healthiest life. And that's when I implemented a dramatic shift to my nutrition, and I started implementing a lot of health supplements, and I'm going to talk about that at the end. And I changed my lifestyle, stress management, exercise. But here's the key. Here is the kicker. If you're already doing all this, then that's awesome. For those of you who have not made the shift yet, it starts in the mind. If I didn't believe that it was worth it, if I didn't believe it was going to help, if I didn't believe it was possible, if I didn't make a committed decision, then I wouldn't change my diet dramatically. I wouldn't go to all the health practitioners that I went to and do all this study. And you don't have to do all the research. Hopefully I have others like myself who can share that with you. But I chose to do a lot of research on my own. But I wouldn't have done all those things and implemented it and stuck with it every day and gave up things. And I wouldn't do all that if I didn't have my mind in the right place, right? So that's why I want to talk about that a little bit more today. So most people never know I have multiple sclerosis. Like I said, after working in the corporate world, because I have that health condition and that passion to help others change their health, I decided to actually open a retail health store. So that kind of combined my business and nutrition health background. And it was a great experience. I worked with over 2,000 people and clients with their health in that environment, and I became a registered nutritional practitioner. However, what I realized was for myself, the retail environment just wasn't the right fit. It has its place. It just wasn't the right balance for me to spend enough time with people and to have the flexibility with my son at home. So I decided to sell off that business and continue doing the nutritional coaching, which I still do some today. And I mostly, I'll explain that a bit more. But the other thing that I did is I fell into this thinking into results. And I'm going to share with you guys today a few of the key concepts. There's so much in here. So I just summarized a good 10 or 15 minutes of it to give you some good nuggets today. But Bob Proctor there, if you're not familiar with him, you might have seen him in the movie The Secret in 2006, but he's been studying the mind for over 55 years, and he's my personal mentor. And unbelievable, when I discovered the stuff that I discovered with him, it was made me realize how now I could change other people's lives so much deeper and help people change their habits and get the results that they want. And this is for any area of life, not just for health. Today we're focused on health, but these concepts, your mind controls everything you do, all of your actions in any result in your business, your relationships, your health. So I'm really excited when I fell into that and decided to kind of help learn how to coach people with this as well. And then, sorry, I know this is a long story of my life, but I just want to explain to you how I got to where I am and what I do. I decided because I had left the retail store, I no longer had product lines that I could share with others, I decided to find a company. I did quite a bit of research in different companies where I felt comfortable with the ingredients, the product line offerings, and I decided to partner with a company called Arbonne International, and the over 400 products, and it meets all the criteria that I look for with health ingredients. I won't go through it all because there's a big long list, but those are some of the products now that I have the ability to share with people if there is a health nutritional product or a skincare product that can help them with their goals as well. And also that's because we're independent consultants, that's also an opportunity for business for people. Okay, so let's get into the meat. We're going to go through these 3 secrets. And I'm going to start, like I said, with the mindset. So just sit back, relax, and absorb. I'd encourage you, if you came on today, like I said at the very beginning, what brought you in today? If it was a health goal that you want to work towards, I would encourage you to think about that as I go through the mindset piece. And if you happen to have, other areas of your life that you want to think about, you can use it to whatever you like. I will be focusing a bit more on the nutritional side, but like I said, the concepts are for anything. So just keep in mind a goal you have while I go through this portion. Oh, I forgot. Before I go through the mindset piece, I want to give you this analogy because I'm going to refer to it throughout all 3 of those pillars. I'm going to refer to this bathtub. This might seem a little bit funny if you're new to this analogy, but it's commonly referred to in naturopathic medicine and natural health. So we're going to call your health a bathtub. We're going to call your body a bathtub. I apologize if this hopefully doesn't seem jumpy. I just want to give you this analogy so that you can keep this in your back of your mind as I go through the mindset, the nutrition, and the health supplements. So when you turn the tap on, we're going to call that everything you're putting in your body. So all the food you're eating, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the liquids and fluids that you're taking, any environmental toxins that are coming into the body, everything you're putting on your skin, lotions, soaps, that absorbs into your bloodstream in about 26 seconds. So it absorbs in even faster than what you put in your mouth, to be honest. So whatever you're putting on your skin, whatever you're putting in your mouth, environmental toxins, and even your thoughts. If you've got a lot of negative thoughts or fear, worry, doubt, stress, those are all going into your body as well. So all this stuff is coming into your body. And then we're going to call the drain your body's major organs of elimination. So liver, kidneys, colon, skin, like those organs of elimination. And essentially what we want the things what goes in the body to be absorbed and utilized. And then we want the body to be able to drain optimally and everything to flow smoothly throughout the system. What happens, I'll just give a very broad generalization, but in North America, most people are not putting all the good in, and you can't avoid it no matter what, because even environmental toxin like this, it's difficult to avoid completely, even if you are eating a lot of health foods, but there may be genetic modification or pesticides. So it's even if you're doing really well putting it in, your body is still exposed to things. But most people in North America are not putting all the good in, and they're not supporting those organs of elimination. And by supporting the organs of elimination, I mean there are certain foods you can have to support it, as well as a lot of herbal supplements and herbal things, and I'll mention some at the end, to help the drains and fiber. There's a lot of things. I'm going to talk about some of them, but we really have to support our body's ability to, when we put stuff in, we want to absorb the good. The body has to figure out how to pull out the good stuff and keep it so that we can feel good, and then eliminate all the stuff that it doesn't need. What happens over time a lot in North America is that we're not putting good in, like I said, and we're not supporting the organs of elimination. So what do you think happens? Over time, the drain starts to get clogged. And as the drain starts to get clogged, it usually starts with some smaller symptoms like fatigue or a little brain fog, maybe some headaches, weight gain, thinning of the nails, a lot of different things, but moderately simpler conditions. But as time goes on, if this keeps happening, then it does lead to more severe health conditions. And we absolutely, this is my purpose in life now, is to prevent that from happening. I call it NEP syndrome, not enough pain. I've seen so many people when it gets to the point where it's enough pain and then they're finally doing something. I really want to help encourage people to get the system running optimally so that we can prevent any further health conditions. Okay, so let's get into the mindset. So just keep that bathtub in mind as I go through. I just want you to, I'll refer to that a few times. So the first piece about the mindset, there's two things you need to know to get to where you want to go. You need to know where you are. You need to know why you're getting the results you're currently getting. And you need to know where you're going. You need to have a goal. You need to know where you are going. So if it's so simple and it's so obvious, that's where I want to go. You know, I use weight loss because that's a very common one. By no means is that in all cases, but it's just one I hear often. You know, if I know I want to lose 20 pounds, if we know that where we want to go, why would we stay here? Why would I sit here getting the same results? And you don't get angry at me when I'm saying this because I'm going to explain it. But why would I get the same results in my life in any area when I know I want something different? Well, let me tell you, the first reason is that most people do not have a clearly defined written goal that's really important to them. Most people don't have a clear goal. Do you know where you're going? Have you decided where you want to go for real? We either have not made a decision on a clear goal, or we have too many goals and we're working towards 20 different things at once, and therefore we don't have, you know, a streamlined direction or vision of to where we're going. So I teach usually 2 weeks worth on just goals. So I'm going to just go through today and share with you kind of one way to look at it when you're thinking about your goal. First of all, like I said, you want it to be written, okay? So take this with you today when you leave here, or write it out right now if you got some on your mind. You have to write it down. Most people do not have it written down. If you go ask 10 people on the streets what is their goal, 9 out of 10 will not know what you mean, and probably 10 out of 10, not always, but will not have it written down. If you want to make a big change in your health or your life, you have to have it written down, okay? Simple detail, but it's really important, and you should be writing it every single day. Reminding yourself of it every day. Read it every day, write it every day. You might have, now, just because today we're talking about health, you may have one personal goal, like a health goal, and then you may have a professional goal. So you may have 2 big goals you're working towards or something like that. You usually don't want to have much more than that at one time. It doesn't mean you can't do all the other things. It just means for your primary focus, we're going to pick 1 or 2 big things. So how do we write them? First of all, it has to be in the present tense. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to verbally tell you an example of what the goal could sound like, and then I'll break down how to do it for yourself. So here are 2 examples. The first example is this, present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've lost 30 pounds. Okay, that's nice. It sounds kind of good. The second example is this. I am so happy and grateful now that I've released 30 pounds of weight. I have so much energy. I feel so comfortable in my clothes and people are noticing. I look forward to making healthy choices and I crave vegetables. I wake up excited for the day and I'm so grateful for where I've come and proud of myself. So which one do you want? First one, you can imagine why when someone says, when someone says, I want to lose 30 pounds, that is not very motivating for most people. You might think it is because you might think, yeah, I really want that. I really, really want that. But when you heard me say the second example, that is what helps people get emotional. You have to see the picture. What does it look like when you get there? What does it feel like? What do other people feel like around you? what can you do now? You're able to do more physically or have more energy, give more of yourself to others. You have to have a much more detailed picture of where you're going. And that is what the most successful people in the world, any of the top professional personal development coaches, any of the people who have been really successful have done. They have a clearly defined big goal that they're really emotional about, and they know what it's going to look like. Now, like I said, so the present tense piece, that is simply, if you're not familiar with this, so if it might sound weird to make it sound as though it's already happened. If you're not familiar with writing goals in the present tense, then this may be a new concept for you, but I promise you I'm not making it up. It's based on 55 years of research. The idea is that you do want to make sure your statement always starts with, I am so happy and grateful now that. And you put yourself at the end and you're looking back on what that looks like. You're using positive language. So you never want to say that, I am not grumpy anymore, and I'm not tired anymore, and I'm not fat anymore. Like, do not say any of those things. You have to use the reverse. Say, have so much energy now. I feel so good in my clothes. I can't remember the exact things I said, but okay, so just always use the positive language. If you find negativity written in there, even if you're saying, I'm not in debt, I'm not in debt, I'm not in debt, that's negative, and that's going to just keep you there. You have to say, I have financial freedom, I have abundance, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So you're going to write positive language. You want to be pretty specific. So I gave you that example that was quite lengthy, but you want to have a specific picture, measurable. So I do like to have the piece that has a number in there is okay. Some kind of way to measure whether you've got there or not. And then emotional, and you have to believe it. Now that's a bit of a different one. I teach a whole lesson on believe it. Do you believe it or not? Especially if it's something really big that you've never done before. But at the end of the day, you have to get yourself to a point where you can believe it, even though you've never done it and you don't know how and all those things. Okay, so that's the goals. So now we've got one other piece. Once you figure out where you're going, then you have to understand why that alone will dramatically shift you, but the real root of it that holds people exactly where they are is what is known as your paradigms. And your paradigms, what are your paradigms? This woman in a box is a great example. But your paradigms are the box that you live in, living inside a box. And each person is different, but the way that you see the world, the way that you see yourself, the way you think things happen, that is all, and it's all been created throughout your entire life, from when you were a child, if you were raised with a lot of encouragement and support, if you were bullied in school, or you had, experienced trauma or challenges, or you experienced success and achievement, all of those different things throughout your life create this box that you live in. And the way you see the world, the way you think things happen, and the way you do things are all part of this paradigm. I'm going to go through just a few examples. One of the biggest parts of your paradigm is your self-image. And the reason I pull this one out is because it's so directly correlated with health and health goals as well. Your self-image is the perception of the sort of person you are, and it can be empowering or it can be limiting. I love this picture. Does the cat see themselves as a lion, or does the lion see themselves as a cat? You can pick whatever you want. I just heard an amazing video with Will Smith recently that he said that he was raised as a child, and his family said, doesn't matter where we're at right now. Doesn't matter if we're living in poverty and we don't have anything. That is completely irrelevant. All that matters is the picture that we hold of the place that we're going to, and anything is possible. And I love that when you see people who have achieved a lot. And I saw Walt Disney, actually, a documentary about his life as well, and kind of where he came from. So what is the image that you're holding of yourself? Is the image that you're holding of yourself the current image? And if it's good, then that's fine. But even if it's good, even if you have a really good image of yourself, it can always be improved. We can always be improved. The spirit inside of us always wants to improve and to grow and to develop, so that we can be more, do more, give more in the world. But the self-image, this piece is, we really have to create that new image, that description that I said of the goal, that picture of that person is, if you have to really create a new image. If you want to change your results, you need a new image. You can't stick with the same picture that is your current paradigm, the current way you see yourself, if you want to change and grow and adapt. A quick example would be, if it's for health, if you say, well, you know, I've just always been this way. I've always been overweight, or I've always been, you know, not a morning person, or I've just never enjoyed exercise. I never liked vegetables. Well, that's just an image that you have that is a habitual way of thinking and a habitual way of being, and that may be true today. But if you want to change it, you have to change the picture and create a new image in your mind of who you want to be and you want to be like. And it doesn't matter if it's not the current reality. This quote I want to share that leads up to the self-image is, by the time you're 17 years old, you've heard the words, no, you can't, an average of 150,000 times. And you've heard the words, yes, you can, about 5,000 times. That's 30 no's for every one yes. That makes for a powerful belief of I can't. I get emotional every time I say this. I have a son, so it's really funny. I've literally read this like 100 times. Anyways, some of those no, you can't, I'm sure, you know, protecting the child, you don't want them to get into danger, but it doesn't matter. What this statistic says is that people grow up in a world where they believe, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't know how, I've never done that before, that wouldn't be logical, that wouldn't be reasonable, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the education, and that whatever it is, we live in a society where most of us have kind of been pre-programmed to believe I can't. And I want to point that out because I want to make sure you realize that you can. And it's just pre-programmed. It wasn't your choice. It was pre-programmed in our society and in our life. One other part of the paradigm that I want to mention, another habitual way of thinking, another part of your current reality are the things that you fear. The things that one person fears are very different than the things that another person fears. And the types of things that you fear are because of your paradigm. Either, you know, if you have a fear of failure, maybe it's because you failed at something in the past, or maybe you saw someone around you fail at something. If someone else doesn't have any fear of failure, perhaps because they were raised in an environment where they were told to take many risks as you want, and it doesn't matter. There's no failures anyways. It's always learning. But each person is so different in the types of things they fear. But this is really a big part of the paradigm. So like I said, the fear of failure is a really big one when it goes to health goals. People are scared to start because they don't want to fail. If you have that in your mind, we've got to flip that out and only focus on the positive and realize that anything is possible, and it's never a failure, it's always a learning. Fear of the unknown, I don't know what that looks like. I know I've never really been there before. Fear of not knowing how to get there, fear of not knowing how to stay there if I do get there. Just a few examples, but as you can see, fear is a big thing that holds people back from getting out of their chair and actually moving towards it. Okay, so those are a few of your paradigms. What I want to put these all together is that all of your paradigm basically controls all of your habits. The way that you think or spend money or deal with money, the way you spend your time, the way you interact with people. Every habit that you have in your life is just part of your paradigm, and it's all a reflection of your self-image, your fears, or all sorts of different things in your life that have happened. So the key question is, how do I change them? How do I change my paradigms? So I'm going to give you some nuggets today. As you can imagine, if it was easy, then everyone would do it. So I'm going to give you some tips today, but if you want more, feel free to reach out to me separately, and we can do a lot more digging on this. It takes time and it takes a specific process. I teach a whole 6-month program on this, but I want to give you some nuggets today that you can take with you. The first thing you need to do is make a decision. Make a committed decision. Tony Robbins, I recently heard, he said, if you want to know whether you've made a decision or not, just look at your actions. Have you taken steps forward? Are you changing your behaviors? If you haven't changed your actions, then you haven't made a committed decision to move towards that goal yet. So you have to make a decision, not a decision that says, oh, I'll do it when I have the time. Oh, I'll do it when I have the money. Oh, I'll do it when I have this experience. Oh, I'll do it once I do that course, or I'll do it once I do this. Like, nope, that's not a decision. A decision is I'm going to do it, even though I don't know how, and I've never done it before, and I'm going to figure it out along the way. And the other thing about decisions is making decisions in advance. So when it comes to health and nutrition, if you're going, if you're saying, I'd like to go, I want to eat healthy, but my family eats all these unhealthy things and it's in front of me, so I have no choice. Nope, that's not, it's your decision. You don't have to eat them even if they're in front of you. Or I'm going to a party and I have to bring baked goods. Nope. That's a decision. You don't have to do that. I'm going, my workplace always brings treats and I see them and then I have to eat them. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to offend the people who brought them. Yep, that's a decision you made. That is not a requirement. So there's so many things that creep into our mind that we think are logical, that we think are holding us back, but it's just because we haven't gotten down deep into our heart to say, I'm making a committed decision and nothing's going to stop me. And we can deal with all of those situations in a positive way. And I've done it. I'm not just telling you this from someone who, has an idea that I'm sharing. I've done this. I've done all those things. I've been in all those scenarios and all those situations, but I made a committed decision 15 years ago. I'm making a change and it starts with me and it's ending now and I'm not going to go back. And, it has to be something that's really important to you. If you just want to improve your health a little bit, that's fine as well, but just make a decision. What does that little bit look like? And what does that little bit feel like? And if you want to make a big change, then of course you have to go even a little bit deeper. And of course, apply this to any other area of your life as well. Okay, so if you want to this is the other way to change your paradigm. It starts with making a decision, and you have to make that decision every single day. Today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day. If you don't remind yourself of it every single day, then you forget, and in 3 days you go back to your old way of thinking and you forgot that you even came to this webinar. So here's a quote from John Maxwell, who's another professional development coach. He says, if you want to be inspired, you'll attend an event. If you want to improve, follow a process and stick to it. This right now is an event. This is hopefully very inspiring, and I encourage you to come to as many of these as you can. I will be doing lots of them, and I find the more times you hear this, the more you'll learn something new every single time. You get inspired, you get uplifted, you get motivated. So I love events, whether in-person live events or online. I really value them, but you have to take what you learn and stick to it on a daily basis. And that's the other way, really, the other part of the shift in the paradigm is doing it every single day. Repetition, writing your goal every day, saying it every day, making a decision every single day. It has to be done through daily repetition. There's no other way. No other way. Daily repetition every single, there is one other way. An emotional impact, but that you can't control that because it happens to you. So if something traumatic happens, then sometimes that can snap people to change their habits and behaviors, of course. But most of the time, unfortunately, emotional impacts are negative. So we're not going to go through that today too much. I really want to just emphasize making a decision and then following a process and sticking to it daily repetition. Okay, so we're going to move on. Take a little breather, relax, and about halfway through the time, but I've got a fair bit more to cover. Hopefully that's been really valuable. Hopefully those things have caused you to think a little differently and get your mind moving a bit. I just shared a little nugget there with that mindset. I know it probably seemed like a lot if this is new to you, but there is a lot more. That is probably only 5% of it all, but it's the most important places to start with to make some big shifts. And I really hope you can take what I just taught you with you and make some changes. So now we're gonna go into the nutrition piece. I know it's a bit of an abrupt shift because we're going all deep and emotional, and now we're gonna go light, but here we go. The first thing I have to start with every single time, whenever I do a health talk, I've thought about removing it, but I just can't remove it because it's so important, even though it's so basic. Drinking enough water. And I've been taught through my nutritional training and even some of the nutrition courses I took 10 years ago is if your client isn't drinking enough water, that's where they have to start. Start at step one. So it's really important because water will allow you to absorb those water-soluble vitamins. So we talked about turning the tap on and putting the good in. You want to absorb those good nutrients, helping to do that with water. And the water also helps to filter out and help remove toxins. It also helps with joints and inflammation and brain headaches or brain fog, energy. So just a critical piece. Apologies. The second tip, also simple but critical, and if you look through North America, and because I worked with thousands of people at this retail store, I honestly saw so many, and I have done a lot online as well. I have clients in different parts of the world, but it's shocking that a lot of people don't drink enough water, and a lot of people aren't eating enough whole foods. So it's pretty common. So I want to point these out, even though depending on where you're at, this might seem simple, but it's not a common thing in society. So I have to pull it out because it is really a basic, most important thing. Eating more whole foods. So I do lots of plant-based foods are amazing. Fruits and vegetables, ideally, if you can, organic, non-GMO with reduced pesticides, all those things, just to reduce the toxic loads we're putting in our body. But trying to get into more whole foods. We have such easy access to highly processed foods, things with artificial flavors, colors, additives, genetic modification, all those things. And we really need to reduce that burden on the body. It is just wreaking havoc on our health and our energy. Now, I will be mentioning some health supplements later, like I said, but they are all plant-based, non-GMO, like gluten-free, vegan, not free of for artificial flavors, colors, additives, all those things. So even though I will show you an option where you can get kind of a quick thing that is still in as close as possible to natural form, but really trying to make a decision to add more of these whole foods into our life. And as you'll notice, the first two things I talked to you about were adding. We want to add good in, right? We want to add good in. The more good we add in, the less room there will be for the things that you're trying to reduce or eliminate. So if you're adding all that nice whole foods in and more water, then this piece here, sometimes depending on your mindset or your awareness or your whatever, your paradigm, your belief system, wherever you're at, there's a lot of different pieces on this, but what I'm about to share sometimes surprises people if they're new to it. So I hope I never offend anyone. I'm just passing on the information. It's based on tons of research, of years of research. I started studying it 15 years ago. So it's not new, but if you haven't been digging into the research of it or really studying it with natural health practitioners, then it might seem surprising. Hopefully not a surprise for anyone. But what I'm going to suggest is we want to limit or eliminate inflammatory foods, sugar, and sugar-converting foods. Inflammation is one of the most recognized causes of so many health conditions, as well as sugar. Inflammation, inflammation of the joints is arthritis. Inflammation of the lungs is asthma. Inflammation of the skin, maybe eczema, psoriasis. Inflammation can lead to so many health conditions that it's really something that we want to try to limit putting into our body. And sugar converting foods as well. Some of that might be obvious, like donuts, cookies, candy, things like that are kind of obvious, but there are a lot of the foods I'm going to show you right now are maybe not as obvious to you that they are actually quite high in sugar as well. So the first one is wheat products. So bread, pasta, muffins, even whole wheat bread. This is where I'm like, don't hang up if you're new to this, if you think I'm crazy. I'm just passing it on. I do agree, but it's not only my opinion. I'm sharing the research. The reason I started to study this originally and started to implement this was because of MS and the connection with the brain. There's you might have heard of grain brain. There's a Dr. Perlmutter or wheat belly. But there's a lot of other research that was done many years before that as well. Wheat products are very inflammatory. They definitely contribute to weight gain and holding on to weight. They convert to sugar almost before they hit your mouth or your stomach. And they lead to a lot of inflammatory conditions. So I have a picture here of an alternative. If you are going to keep grains in, there's an alternative grains like quinoa, rice, potatoes perhaps, like sweet potatoes. White potatoes obviously are higher in sugar, like they do convert to sugar highly, but at least it's a more natural form of food that doesn't have the inflammatory response of wheat products. The other thing with wheat products is that by limiting them, you are automatically going to be limiting a lot of processed foods, right? Not always. There's a lot of gluten-free processed foods available now, so want to use that in moderation. But if you're reducing wheat products, you're likely to be reducing a lot of the processed foods that I would recommend you would want to reduce anyways. The other one I'm going to mention quickly here is dairy products. So lactose, if you're not familiar, is actually milk sugar, but dairy products can be very inflammatory as well, and they respond. Everyone, to be honest, everyone has some kind of a mild sensitivity to dairy, but a lot of people can deal with it no problem, or at least seems like no problem, but over time it kind of can clog the drains. And similar with wheat products, we might feel like we don't have any symptoms, but perhaps we just don't know because we haven't had, you usually would want at least 45 to 90 days without to really be able to see the effect on the body. But yeah, so dairy products, also very mucus forming, definitely highly correlated with skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis, mucus or anything in the nasal passageway. But an alternative could be almond milk or coconut milk, or just not having any at all. It's not mandatory food. And I think they're actually eliminating it from Canada's Food Guide. If you haven't heard, Canada's Food Guide is being updated. So they're making some big shifts, which is exciting. No, pretty much none of the naturopathic practitioners use the food guide anyways, but they are making some modifications to remove some pretty significant things and make some big changes. So we'll see what that looks like, but hopefully it's good. My last piece on nutrition, and then we're going to move on to some of the health supplements, is my plate filling recommendations. So this is a general statement, and if I'm working with someone individuals, then I may specify it differently, but just as a general rule of thumb, if you're coming to look at this, I always like to recommend every single meal or snack start with filling half your plate with veggies. Now, fruit can be included in there as well. I just I want to not have all fruit all day because it's higher in sugar, but technically, I guess I could update that. It can be fruit and veggies, but just trying to primarily put a lot more veggies in that piece. Then you'll see a good quarter of the plate there is protein, which is, there can be, if it's animal proteins like chicken or fish, lots of plant-based proteins like legumes, and there's different plant-based protein shakes. But protein is really important. Those amino acids, your body doesn't make them. You have to take them in through food and or supplementation, but you have to take them into your body. And it's really important for maintaining muscle, for a whole bunch of functions in the brain, for a lot of other bodily functions. It keeps you full longer as well. Helps your body to burn fat more easily because if you're maintaining more muscle. But really critical food group. Healthy fats there, important for joint health, heart health, brain health, and then healthy carbs there. You can see the size of the plate there. It's really just a small little side there. So if you are having gluten-free pasta, you can get some with bean noodles or some sweet potatoes or rice crackers or oatmeal or quinoa. Generally speaking, you want it to be a smaller portion of your servings, okay? And to be honest, for me, I actually personally would generally have only 1 or 2 servings per day. But again, it depends on each individual and a lot of other factors. So I don't necessarily have it at every single one of my meals or snacks. Okay, we're going to pause before we move on because I know now I've downloaded all the mindset stuff. Hopefully you're feeling good, putting some positive thoughts in when you turn the drain on and turn the tap on in the bath. We're going to put positive thoughts in and goals and self-image. And then with nutrition, you're going to put more good in and help reduce the things that are going to clog the drain. So you've got lots of stuff to take with you. Hopefully you're liking it so far. So would it be okay to take some time now to share some of the supporting supplements? So I really believe in all 3 of these pillars, and it's important to me to take a lot in from whole foods, but there are a lot of nutrients and herbs and things that you just don't get from food sources. So I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm going to go through just some of the key products, the ones that I use that are part of a 30-day package that is available, but I'm going to go through each one really quickly individually for you so that you can kind of see how they can fit in with that bathtub analogy with helping put the good in or helping to support those organs of elimination. So the first one is, and I mentioned this when we were talking about the foods, the whole foods, is a meal replacement protein shake. And for me, when I'm looking, I've been using meal health, shakes for many, many years. But for me, it's really important to get it in as much of a natural food form as possible. So I love that these ones are this is so actually, let me pause. For those of you who aren't familiar with Arbonne, I think most people coming on here have some general idea, but Arbonne, you would not see it at a retail store. It's sold through consultants like myself. You don't have to be a nutritionist and mindset coach, but it is it's not available at a retail store. So in case you aren't as familiar with it, they've been around for about 35 years now, and they're based on European standards. The whole company is vegan, so it's all plant-based and botanical-based ingredients. No artificial flavors, colors, additives, non-GMO, gluten-free, like I mentioned, vegan, so there's no dairy. And then they're all really highly researched to make sure that it's highly absorbable in the body. And then for the skincare products as well, it's all banning over 1,000 chemicals. So it's very dramatically different than the North American standards. But like I said, with what you're putting on your skin, it absorbs into your bloodstream even faster than what you put in your mouth. So sorry, just a little pause there, but just wanted to give a quick overview. Arbonne has skincare, nutritional products, and makeup, and they're all really clean ingredients. And I researched it quite a bit with other natural health practitioners as well before we decided to jump on board and use these products ourselves. So the meal replacement shake, you can have that for breakfast or lunch. And it has some vitamins and minerals. It has some healthy fats. It has good 20 grams of plant-based protein. It has fiber. And there's a protein shake with that as well as a meal replacement shake, and they're slightly different. The protein on its own just has less carbohydrates, less fats, and it's just less of a meal. It's a bit more of a protein supplement, but it's just a really great way to have something quick in the morning. When I'm asking people to cut down on not eat cereal or toast in the morning, or don't have their bagel at Tim Hortons, sorry, I say Tim Hortons. I know there's some people not in Canada who are watching. So Tim Hortons, if you're not familiar, it's a coffee shop. But if I want to make sure that I have something that's an option that is quick and easy to replace that, so you don't get stuck and have that, I'm starving and I end up eating something unhealthy quickly. So the meal replacement shakes, again, for breakfast or lunch or a snack, some time of day. You can mix it with almond milk or coconut milk. You can blend it with fruits or vegetables or this greens powder. The reason that shake is green is because it has the greens powder in it, which is just all your fruits and vegetable extracts and antioxidants in a little powder form. The shakes themselves are not naturally green. I've had someone ask me that before. The other piece here on this page I want to mention is fiber. Fiber is so important for helping to clean out the drains. It's so critical. Okay, you have to allow fiber helps the body to bind to toxins and helps to flush them out of the system. It also keeps you full longer, regulates blood sugar, definitely helps to manage cravings. So if that's one of the goals. So those two things you can use together. The fiber has no taste or texture, so I often add it to other foods as well. But that's the meal replacement and the fiber. The other product that I really love that really helps people with making that shift in their health nutritional goals is called Energy Fizz Sticks. So this is really, if someone's having, one coffee a day is maybe okay, but if you're having multiple coffees or pop, or you just find you have an energy slump in the afternoon and you feel like grabbing something sweet, or the Energy Fizz Sticks have a combination of B vitamins for stress and mood. I should put mood on here as well. Some ginseng, which is an herb, natural stimulant that helps to boost energy, and some, that's guarana. Guarana is a natural energy stimulant, a little bit of caffeine from green tea, and then the ginseng is really for mental clarity and focus. So you may not care about the names of the herbs or whatever, but it's important to me, and I replace a few different supplements. I used to take 3 separate things now that I just use, and now I was able to replace it with just taking this one packet. It's only 1.5 grams of sugar. You just mix it with a nice big glass of water. They taste delicious, the citrus or pomegranate, and it's a really effective way to help people in their path to kind of reducing some of those foods that they want to shift out of and keep that energy and mental clarity throughout the day. You could have 1 or 2 per day. Next, there's only a few other products I want to mention that are really important to me. The Digestion Plus, this is actually new in Canada. It's not a new product, but Health Canada review takes time, so it's newer in Canada. And I've been using different brands of digestion products for probably 10 or 15 years, but a digestive enzyme basically helps to break down the foods. So really helps to allow your body to absorb nutrients better, process things better, allows your body to be able to release the things it doesn't need, helps with bloating as well. There's also probiotic blend in here as well. And there's also some herbs like peppermint and chamomile that are just kind of calming and soothing herbs. So it just kind of helps to settle the digestive system. It's a little packet of powder. You just put it in you can put it in your fizz stick or your shake or just in a glass of water. It doesn't really have much taste. And you just have that once a day, ideally with a meal or a shake. But it's really, really helpful, again, for allowing your body to keep the good in. The last two products I'm going to talk about, these are more about, when you look at the bathtub, these are more about cleaning out the drains. So when we want to help those organs of elimination, the liver, the kidneys, even through the skin, when we want to support those organs of elimination, this herbal tea, I feel like everyone should just have it in their kitchen all the time. At least one a day. You can have up to 3 cups a day. There's no caffeine. Very, very gentle. And I've had naturopathic doctors that I've reviewed it with as well with the ingredients. It's just such an amazing blend to help support your body's keeping that drain cleaned. It's not a full cleanse. I'll talk about that next, but it's just a very nice way you can have keep your drains supported on an ongoing basis. So there's some milk thistle a little bit, and there's some dandelion, which are really good for liver and detoxification. There's peppermint and chamomile in there as well. But it's, like I said, just a very good, gentle tea. It tastes quite mild. Most people just love it. And simple little tea that you could have on hand every single day, any time of day. Some people have it like in the evening because it's a little bit relaxing, but I have it in the morning as well. It does not put you to sleep or anything. The last product I'm going to mention is the cleanse. So this is actually a 7-day cleanse. You can do it over 7 days or over 14 days. If you do it over 14 days, you would just have the supplement portion every other day. And you could do this a few times a year. I've been doing herbal cleanses for about 15 years, and usually 2 or 3 a year, depending on what's going on, not during pregnancy or nursing, but it's got a really good blend of multiple herbs so that it targets all of these 7 major organs of elimination. Okay, it's really effective when you can have something that covers off your body's ability to eliminate toxins through different vehicles. The other thing to note is for weight loss, like as an example, fat is basically bubble wrap for toxins. Our body is really smart. It says, okay, if you're putting toxins in and not eliminating them, over time, obviously different people's metabolisms are different, but your body wants to protect your major organs like your heart, your brain. So it created adipose tissue, aka fat. It created fat so that it can store the toxins and keep them away from all the other all the essential organs. So doing an herbal cleanse is usually one of the kickstarts that I say to help with a weight loss program as well, but by no means is that the only reason. It can be done just for basically any shift in health, any health improvement to help really pull out some of those toxins. And if you are interested in doing this or you want more, I do provide a little bit of extra nutritional tips and recommendations to kind of support the food piece to go along with it. And I do get asked this, yes, you do eat food, so it's not like you're going 7 or 14 days without any food. I do recommend that you do continue to eat, but I just recommend some more specific foods. You want to really minimize processed foods, minimize alcohol, or eliminate preferably because you're cleaning out the liver at the same time. But I just provide a little bit of extra nutritional coaching. So feel free to take that. Okay, so that is everything. That is, I know I've gone through a lot today, but that is, those are the health supplements that I want to talk to you about. There's a lot of 400 products, but I just kind of want to narrow into this little kit. I call it kind of a toolkit because those health products were really designed to be put together to help people to, if they are going through a food shift and eliminating certain foods and adding good foods and trying to make a bigger shift in their health, that those products kind of work together to put the good in and to eliminate the bad. Okay, so are you curious about how to get the product's ongoing support and the bonuses? We've only got a few minutes left. Perfect timing. So how to reach me? For mindset, nutrition, mindset and success coaching, you can just reach out to me if you want to learn more about how that all works. or what that's all about, happy to reach out to me. Nutrition, I do, I do have a Facebook page if you're not currently in it that I just started, that I'm happy, and I will be sharing some meal plans and some health tips in there. I do a lot of some nutrition coaching with Arbonne Health clients as well. But if you want some tips for nutrition, you're welcome to reach out to me as well. For the Arbonne Health products, I'm going to actually share it with you on the next slide, just a little bit, because it's a bit more detail on how to access those if you are interested. So there's my email, nicole.kernahan@outlook.com, or Facebook Messenger, Nicole Kernahan. And again, I'm going to be doing lots of these free classes. The purpose of them is to motivate and inspire you, so you can come to as many of them as you want, anytime. Never feel like you obligated to, you don't feel obligated to have to reach out to me after or anything like that. I just do this because I love it. But if you do want more, I want to make sure you know how to get a hold of me or how to get a hold of some of these things. So for the health products, so I mentioned the Arbonne package, I guess we'll call it. The reason they put these together is actually 40% off when you get the package. So it actually comes with 2 of the meal replacement shakes or the protein shakes, 2 boxes of tea, 2 boxes of the energy fizz sticks, a bag of fiber, 1 7-day cleanse, and 1 30-day pack of the digestive enzymes. So that whole package together is 40% off. Each of the products are available individually as well, and that will last either 30 or 60 days or somewhere in between. It depends if you're having 1 or 2 shakes a day. So, if you're having 2 shakes a day every single day for 30 days, then it would, and 2 at the full serving, then it would last 30 days. A lot of times the shake does last quite a bit longer because people are not necessarily having 2 every single day, but just so you know the portions there. And the fizz sticks as well, that's going to be either 30 or 60 days, depending on if you have 1 a day or 2 a day. So yeah, so that's what that is, and that includes a little health consult with me if you'd like ongoing support from myself or our team. And this would be, for just to clarify, for Arbonne, if another consultant brought you here or asked you to, or suggested that you might enjoy this, then you can either reach out to me or to them, but I will make sure that you get connected with them, and they will be your primary consultant through Arbonne, but I would be happy to help with any of the nutrition or health portions of it. But they would still be your primary, your primary independent consultant. So really quickly, how to get the products, because like I said, it's not at retail, it's sold through consultants like us. If you want just 1 or 2 items and you're just a new client, then it would be the regular price, is just the price that you see online or in a catalog. If you want to become a preferred client, which is what most people do, if it's a one-time fee of $24, and then you get 20% off everything for a year and 40% off the 30 days to health package. I should have had the exact price, but the whole package, I think it's, I apologize, I don't want to give you a makeup number. I think it's about the 8 products, and it comes to about $300 at the 40% off rate if you get the whole entire package. And if you get the individual items, they would be 20% off if you are a preferred client. The consultant price, that is if you want to if you have any interest or in entrepreneurial spirit in learning about what we do as a consultant. I don't normally talk about this here because this is not why most people joined us today, but I just want you to know how it works. We are actually, we share this product line just through people, so ourselves and other consultants, and we can help teach you how to do this as well. Not necessarily webinars, but just to understand what the business looks like. Or if you want to do it just for the sake of getting the discount, that's also fine. It's one-time fee of $95. If you're already a preferred client, you just pay the difference, not the full $95. And then that gives you 35% off everything for a year plus 50% off of the packages. So the package, I think, ends up being, I think it's $260 or something like that. Okay, so that is everything for the Arbonne products. Definitely feel free to reach out, like I said, to me anytime through Facebook Messenger, text if you have my cell phone, or email, or your consultant, whoever brought you on here today. And then to get one last thing I want to mention, the bonuses. To get access to the 30 days of mindset tips, nutrition tips, and at-home workout videos, that is also through a Facebook group, although I'm going to be making it available through email as well for those of you who don't have Facebook. But it is through a private Facebook group with a young woman named Tabitha, she's actually part of our Arbonne group as well, but she does nutrition, mindset tips, and at-home workouts, and it is so unbelievable. I get inspired by it, even though I am a mindset coach. So it's really a great way. Just reach out to myself or your consultant, and we can privately add you into that group. Thank you for staying with us. And then the last one is to get into the draw. It's actually just for if there's anything that you wanted to, any products that you're interested in. We're going to be doing the draw. It's actually by the end of the month. Sorry, I know that's just tomorrow. So we'll do it again next month by the end of the month. But anything you want to order this month, well, it doesn't have to be the full package, even any individual items, and they'll put you into your name into the draw for the bag of goodies, which will be sent out next month. Okay, and one last thing before I go, the Energy Fizz Sticks, I should have mentioned, they're also on sale this month. Buy one, get the second for 60% off. So if you aren't interested in everything, but you're just interested in the energy or whatever, just want to let you know that because that's on just until tomorrow. Okay, so that's all for today. We better go. It's 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock Eastern time. We are right on schedule. I really appreciate your time. I know there is so much information in here. I hope you were inspired and motivated to take action, to write down your goal, your health goal, or your professional goal, or whatever it is. And if you want to learn more, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I really hope that you got some great value. And again, like I said, feel free to join us as many times as you want, because the way to change your habits and to change your behavior is through repetition. So we hope to see you many, many times. Okay, have yourself a wonderful rest of the day, and hopefully we'll see you or talk to you soon. Okay, take care. Have a good day.